A lot of the focus in the theme park world over the last couple weeks has been on Universal Epic Universe, and rightfully so. That doesn't mean nothing's happening over here at the original park, Universal Studios Florida. I'm here today to cover a bunch of things. First and foremost, Halloween Horror Nights 2025. Spec season is underway. We have a brand new speculation map that's out. I'm gonna break that down and tell you what I think is coming to this year's event. There is new merchandise. They're celebrating the 50th anniversary of Jaws, the 35th anniversary of Universal Studios Florida. A lot going on underneath these arches and inside of these gates. So we're gonna head inside. We'll bring you guys along for the ride. Looks like we picked the perfect day to come over here, check out some new merch, check out some park updates, because today is actually the official grand opening day of Epic Universe. And those crowds were pretty light, actually surprisingly light. So I was very curious what it was gonna be like over here on the Universal and Islands of Adventure side. It's looking very empty over here. And here we are, this is what we came for. Halloween Horror Nights 2025 merchandise reveal. And this is just like the generic Never Go Alone merchandise. They haven't announced any houses or anything like that, but let's go in and see what they have. And here it is, as soon as you come in, right in front of the store, they got the merch display out and about over here. Got a little statue, kind of a stained glass window. And then, like I said, this is just the generic like launch of the event merchandise. So everything is Never Go Alone. Let's see what they got. They have a little shot glass here for $13. It has the Never Go Alone with the raven or the crow. For $30, they have this Never Go Alone trucker hat. And then on the back, it has the Halloween Horror Nights 2025 logo. And then for $23, of course, they have the candles. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of these candles, but this one actually smells really, really good. Not gonna get it, but it does smell great. And then here is the shirt. They have a few of them left, so it looks like they've been selling pretty good. There's the Halloween Horror Nights 2025 logo on the front of the chest. You can see the vines kind of going through it there. And then on the back side, you got the Never Go Alone with the bird eating that eyeball over there. I don't know, at first these like vines were giving me like Pumpkin Lord vibes, but the more I'm looking at this up close, it kind of looks more like tree vines. So I don't know, we'll see. Probably reading way too far into this, but Never Go Alone is back. And if tank tops are more your thing instead of t-shirts, they have this Never Go Alone tank top. This is $33, kind of like the color on this too. And then on the back, it says Universal Studios, Halloween Horror Nights 2025. I'm sitting on a bench. I have bushes behind me. It can only mean one thing. Yes, we are inside of Central Park. It's time to talk about the 2025 spec map. Now, Twitter account Horror Night Nightmares put out version 2 of their speculation map. There's usually about 4 versions every season that they put out, and they do change from version to version. We didn't cover version 1 on the channel. I didn't get a chance to make a video about that, but it's now time to talk about version 2. Now, before I dive into any of this, all of this is speculation and rumor. I am not an insider. I have no inside pull as to what's actually going to be coming to this year's event. I'm a fan, just like you guys watching. So I'm going to break this down as best as I can, and we'll see if I'm right once they start announcing some houses. Okay, so I am going to start kind of the way that you would walk into the park. And we're gonna start at Soundstage 23A, and this has a wrestling ring with a coffin inside of it, and it does have a TV icon. And it has been heavily rumored that the WWE is gonna have a house this year at HHN 2025, and I would be really excited if this actually came to fruition. If you don't know, if you guys aren't aware, Alex and I are huge wrestling fans. We're big fans of the WWE. We watch every single Raw, every single SmackDown, every single pay-per-view or premium live event, as they call them nowadays. And this would be very, very cool to see. I would be very interested to see what characters they use. The original rumor was that it was gonna be a Wyatt Six house, and the Wyatt Six haven't been on TV in quite some time. A couple of the members had injuries and they haven't brought them back to television. But I think a house that's solely based on the Wyatt Six wouldn't be as strong as if they did like a mashup house of all like the scary characters that they've had over the years. A lot of people are talking Undertaker. Undertaker had a house many years ago at HHN. It was the only time WWE had a house here. It would be really cool if it was The Undertaker, although I do think it's probably gonna be a series of characters. Maybe we get Undertaker, Kane, the Wyatt Six. I have no idea how they would do this. I have no idea how they'd like intertwine all these characters from different eras into one. But the thing that I'm very confident about is Mike Aiello is running HHN this year. He's the lead creative on the Universal creative team, and he's a massive wrestling fan. So if there was ever a year to do a wrestling HHN house, this would be the year, because I know Mike would absolutely knock it out of the park. Next up at Soundstage 22 will be an original house. There are 3 columns. There's a paintbrush, and it looks like some sort of a piece of art. I have no idea what this is going to be, honestly. Some people are saying maybe a sequel to Museum Deadly Exhibit from last year. That would kind of surprise me because it wasn't a very well-received house, so I don't think they would do a sequel so soon. This is going to be some sort of like an art-based house. Just don't know what that is. However, next door at Soundstage 23B, the icon is a security camera and there's a film reel there, and this is highly rumored to be Five Nights at Freddy's. There's been rumors going around for the last couple of years about Five Nights at Freddy's. People thought it was going to be coming to last year's HHN event. I believe the second one is coming out soon. I would bet the house that Five Nights at Freddy's is coming this year. Everything that I've read, it seems like this is a slam dunk, and we're finally going to get Five Nights at Freddy's at HHN 2025. Next door at Soundstage 24, another original house. This has wings and, you know, axes of some sorts. No idea what this one is. The originals are very hard to decipher when you just look at the photo and the icon that's on there. I have no idea. So I'm not even going to try to speculate on that because I'm going to be completely wrong. Right next door at Soundstage 25, there are 2 garbage bags, and this one is a film reel house as well, which means it's going to be based off of a movie, or it's rumored to be based off of a movie, and it's heavily rumored to be Terrifier, which is going to be very interesting. I saw a little bit of Terrifier 1. Wasn't really my thing. I couldn't really get through it. Like, I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of like gore and slasher movies without a plot, and I kind of feel that's how the Terrifier franchise is. We'll see. Very, very popular. Terrifier 3 was like one of the highest grossing indie films that have ever come out. So this would be really awesome if they decided to do this, because a couple of the guys that produced the Terrifier movies I went to college with. So I kind of have a loose connection to the Terrifier films, and if those guys that I know from college get to work on a Universal HHN house, I know they would be very, very excited. They're huge horror fans, obviously. So, but that is what is rumored to come to Soundstage 25. Next door at Fast and the Furious, another film-based house, another IP. This has a campfire, and a lot of people are saying this is going to be Jason, Friday the 13th. There's a lot of reasons for thinking that. The guy who designed the new Jason costume has been at Universal over the last couple of weeks. It's rumored that we're going to get the first IP house announcement in early June, and Friday the 13th is coming up, and June 13th is on a Friday. June 13th in the Friday the 13th series, like in the lore, is Jason Voorhees' actual birthday. So it sounds like Jason's going to be coming, and I would be down for that. I hope if Jason does come to HHN, this goes into a different location so they can fully flesh out the scenes, because it's a major IP and it needs those big sets, and you just can't really do that over at Fast and the Furious. Next up at tent number 3 is another original house. There's a book of sorts along with some snow. Not really sure what that is. I'm not good at trying to figure out what these original houses are, if I'm being honest. But next door over at tent 4 has a film icon and a thumbs up, and all signs are pointing towards Fallout coming. Of course, Fallout is a video game series. It was also an Amazon Prime like TV series or streaming series. And it seems like if they do a house, it would be based off of the series and not the games. Now, there are characters in the games that are kind of scary, but the TV show wasn't scary. So I would be very interested to see like how they pull this off, and if it's scary or if it's just, you know, they're bringing it in to be a draw. The last 2 houses are also rumored to be originals. Over at tent 2, there's like a toy box with a teddy bear, looks like a ball of some sorts, and like a truck coming out of it. So maybe we'll get some sort of like evil toy or like a toy workshop kind of house. that could be pretty cool. Other than that, next door at Tent 1 is Hatchet and Chains Demon Bounty Hunters. If you went inside Slaughter Cinema last year, this was one of the B movies that was in that house. I would have never guessed it would have been Hatchet and Chains, but we will see. It didn't have a big room in that Slaughter Cinema house, so that's why it was like kind of surprising to me. But the original houses almost always end up being my favorite houses, so I'm not going to judge anything. Obviously, the IPs that are rumored to come are massive. Jason, Fallout, Five Nights at Freddy's, Terrifier, just WWE. This could be a massive, massive year for HHN. And if you're a fan of any of those properties or of a few of them, it's going to be pretty big. Also on the spec map by the Fear Factor stage is a flame, which leads me to believe Nightmare Fuel will be coming back. They always find a way to change it up and make it interesting. So I hope Nightmare Fuel comes back. Now, we're over here by the Lagoon. There's been nothing on any of the spec maps about a Lagoon Show. And I think that's a mistake. Not a mistake that it's not on the map. It's a mistake if they don't do a Lagoon Show, because HHN needs another People Eater, and I would love to see the Lagoon Show come back. Fingers crossed we get another Lagoon Show, because one show over at the Fear Factor stage is just not enough. And if they have these massive IPs coming in this year, like Five Nights at Freddy's, Jason, WWE, the waits are going to be out of control, and they need people to kind of like disperse the crowd. So we'll see. It's not on the map, but that doesn't mean it won't be on future versions of the map. All right, so there you have it. As far as HHN updates go, we went over the spec map, we showed some of the merchandise. Not the biggest fan of like the Never Go Alone. It's fine, but they've been using that slogan for like the last few years. Kind of wish they'd come up with something new every single year that kind of fits the theme of the event. Last year they had the Where Horror Lives with all the punk stuff. The punk neon wasn't my favorite like aesthetic, but I did like how they changed the tagline for the year's event to Where Horror Lives. I thought that was cool. Never Go Alone, it's okay. All right, our next stop on our park updates tour is over here in New York. We're about to head inside the film vault in just a second. Just wanted to show off this. This is so cool that they do this. If you're from New York, if you grew up in New York in the summers, you know that they used to turn on the fire hydrants and kids would go out in the street and play, and they do that here at Universal. That's so cool. And this is what we're here for, the Universal Studios 35th anniversary collection and the Jaws 50th anniversary collection. You can find all this over at the Film Vault, which is in New York. It's down this little alleyway right across from Finnegan. And as soon as we walk in, they have a display in the front with all the 35th anniversary merchandise. It looks like they have a t-shirt. This is kind of like printed on. Feels like, I don't know, like sticky. 1990 to 2025. This is $30. Is there anything on the back? Nope. The back's just plain. So I think that's the adult shirt. They have this awesome sign over here. Back to the Future, Jaws, King Kong, E.T., Jurassic Park. I do wish that they had these icons like maybe on the back of the shirt. That would have been awesome. Also, why is Jurassic Park over here? Jurassic Park doesn't have much to do with Universal Studios. That's an Islands of Adventure thing. Either way, that is very cool. For $25, they have a tumbler cup over here with all of those same icons on it. I'm really digging like the neon throwback vibes of this collection. This is really, really sweet. For $24, they have one of those cooling towels. $10, they have the 35th anniversary shot glass. And then for $20, you have the mug over here with all of those neon icons on it. This is so cool. Really, really like this collection. My only thing is I wish they had these on the back of this shirt. Found a couple more things. They have one of these little signs over here. This is $25, and then they also have this really awesome tie-dye hoodie. This is so cool. It's got the same 35th anniversary logo on it. This is $70. Is there anything on the back? Nope. Back is just plain, but that is very cool. Oh, look at this. It looks like the kid shirt has all the icons on it. That's cool. I wish they made this in adult sizes. Like, this is a cooler design than the adult one's nice, but this one definitely has more to it. Alex could definitely fit in a like youth extra large, so I might get her one of these. And if you're like a hardcore Universal fan, you might recognize a couple of the things that are in here. So this ghost containment unit is from the HHN tribute store where they did Ghostbusters a few years back. And then they have the proton pack. I believe this was on display in the old Legacy store, which is what the Epic Universe Preview Center is now. And then same for Venkman's outfit as well. You can see it's got all the slime on it. All right, we got Alex's shirt. Now they do have some of the Jaws 50th anniversary merchandise in there, but there's a lot more of it over in San Francisco, which is where we're heading next. They basically kind of recreated a mini Amity Island over there, which, if you know, that's where the original Jaws attraction used to be. So we're gonna head that way now. Okay, we made it into San Francisco. And like I said, they've kind of done a little mini recreation of Amity Island to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Jaws. Look at the sign over here. So cool. And then up here, this is a little bit of an Easter egg, kind of like a know, if you know, you know type of thing. But this sign is the sign that was over the entrance to Amity Island and the Jaws attraction back in the day when it was still here at Universal Studios. And that's really cool to see. And they have a little food booth over here. I don't think that's open yet. That's gonna be coming soon. They have Earl the Squirrel's truck. This truck has been used for so many different things and so many different occasions, but this originally was Earl's like Mistletoe Pines Village truck. Let's see what they got over here. This is so cool. I kind of wish they made this permanent. Just make this whole area Amity again, even without the ride. We got Captain Jake's world famous skipper photo spot this way. I could already see they have a little photo spot. It looks like you're on the ride, so definitely gonna go check that out. No swimming, hazardous area, beach closed by order of the Amity Police Department. This is cool. And then this is gonna be Captain Quint's Boardwalk Snacks. And they have a couple of different things. Like I said, this didn't open just yet, but here's the menu. Bucket of bait, crispy pieces of clam, shrimp, and oysters on a bed of fries. They're gonna have a little lobster taiyaki. Hope I'm saying that right. But look at the presentation on this. It looks like Bruce, the shark, is eating the lobster. That is so cool. Then of course they're gonna have an alcoholic drink, Amity Island iced tea. And then they're gonna have a mocktail. Ooh, that's awesome. Excited that they do mocktails. Universal's been doing a great job, especially over at Epic, with the mocktail selection. So we'll be back to try a couple of these things once this opens, which I'm assuming is gonna be like probably within the next week or two. Got some more props out over here in front of the candy store. No swimming, hazardous conditions, TNT. Of course, that's a nod to the movie. They think that they could kill the shark by using dynamite. This is awesome. I love that they're kind of leaning into this and like celebrating their history, not just of the movie, but of attractions that used to be here. All right, we've stepped inside of what I'm gonna call the Jaws tribute store. They're not doing like an official tribute store this summer, but they themed this entire place to Jaws and celebrating the 50th anniversary. We got this pretty cool sign down here with Bruce. Then they've recreated the ship in just like a smaller form. This is awesome. The Universal creative team always does an amazing job with like store overlays, and this one is no different. You have some recreations or like prop replicas of some of the costumes. You got Quint's jacket, got the police chief's jacket right there. Very, very cool. Got a little light. You have an old Universal Park map over here as well, I just noticed. You can see Woody Woodpecker's Kid Zone. San Francisco and Amity has the Jaws on there. So this is a park map, maybe not from the 90s, but at least from when Jaws was here over at Universal. They have the sign, the warning sign from the ride, the Amity boat tours. This is the uniform, the shirt that the skippers would wear on the ride. And then there is a sign. It looks like this is signed by somebody. Chrissy Jaws' first victim. They also have this like little piece of wood over here, and then below it, they have this little note. It says, "I certify this is a genuine piece of the Orca 2, the sinkable prop used in the filming of Jaws on Martha's Vineyard." So this was an actual piece of the Orca 2 from the movie. And you have this awesome merchandise display on top of the barrels over here when you first come in the store. We'll run through everything. They have this cool 1975 Jaws sipper. Now if you go over to the Alcatraz bar, they have a secret menu item, or I don't know if it's actually a secret menu item, but they have a Jaws 50th anniversary drink, and it comes in like a glass version of this. This is $25. They have this pretty cool like cooler slash lunchbox for $40. We have a mug over here. Don't go in the water. Visit Amity Island. 20 bucks. You have a little plush Bruce right over there. And then how cool is this? They have little people Jaws. That is so funny. My mom loves little people. She has like a few different versions of these. She's not a Jaws fan, so she definitely wouldn't appreciate this, but it's so funny how like Little People comes out with these collections for like movies or like other pop culture things. We have a fleece blanket for $40. I'm seeing some shirts over here. Visit Amity Island. You got the map. We got some bucket hats over here. Looks like this is a reversible bucket hat. That is the print that's on one side. Very cool. Then the other side is just kind of plain. It says Jaws right there. They have a Visit Amity Island baseball hat. This is $27. Looks just like the baseball hat. They have like this women's cut V-neck 50th anniversary t-shirt. You got this tank top. This is pretty sweet too. They have this like replica of the Amity Island sign. And then there is a Jaws or Bruce t-shirt right here. Nothing on the back. This hat I like a lot, and it looks really like lightweight. Perfect for the summer. This is $29. It's got the Jaws 50th anniversary little tag on there. It's a roper hat, but it looks like kind of like a buoy or something you would see in the ocean. And then this is like a really small detail, but the ventilation on the back of the hat looks like shark fins. There's a bunch of different pins over here. Looks like they have 3 different pin designs. They have a spoon, like a collectible spoon. Now you're probably wondering like what the heck is somebody gonna do with this collectible spoon? But back in the day, like back when Jaws first came out, these were a thing. Like you used to get these in like cereal boxes, and people used to actually collect these spoons. So they're kind of bringing that back. Little nod to the past, if you will. They have this pretty sweet lanyard. Jaws, beach is closed, no swimming. And then this is awesome too. I really love the merch that they put together for this. They went all out. You got the little water bottle holder right there, Jaws 50th anniversary. And then like I said, there's no official like tribute store this summer. This is kind of like a smaller version of it. But if you look up top, there's all of these like different signs and little like Easter eggs to the film, the attraction up over here too. So don't just come in and look at the merchandise, come up and look. They always put a bunch of stuff up in the rafters over here. It's so cool. Over here behind the sweet treats, they have this glass case with all different things from the attraction in it. You can see the gun over there on the bottom. They have all the different Jaws movies and like the VHS cases, the Amity Boat Tours, crew member sign. Really cool. If you're a fan of Jaws, and especially if you're a fan of the attraction, this is the place to come. And then here is the awesome Jaws photo op. They have like a recreation of the little front of the ship over here. You got Bruce coming out of the water over there. So cool. As much as I love Diagon Alley, I definitely miss like old school Universal like this. And then over here on the little bench, they have a vintage Universal Studios Florida shirt. And then I also noticed down here they have a little official souvenir photo book. This is a great photo op. They've this is an actual, I think, picture, like a real life image of Amity Island from back in the day. Obviously they kind of photoshopped Bruce on there, but this is cool. And then if you come back here, they have a lot of like buttons. They have the little speaker right there so you can talk. You have all the little knobs and switches. They have the wheel that you can kind of come and turn. You got the throttles that you could pull over here. And then of course you got the gun. Can't take the gun out of the holster. It's in there for obvious reasons, but that is super cool. And then on the back here, if you're a fan of Easter eggs like I am, they have part of the script from the ride. It's so cool. Yeah, the 1990 version of Jaws. There's the map. If you know, you know. When this park originally opened, Jaws went down almost immediately, and it was refurbed for a while, quite a long time, but it did come back, obviously. Then you have kind of what I'm assuming is the cover from this script right here, because it says timed script storyline revised December 16th, 1986. Love this stuff. Now behind me is Trussing, and I thought this Trussing was like originally for like a private event, grad bash, something along those lines. This is for the Jaws 50th celebration, so I wonder if they're gonna like have some entertainment or something going on in here, because I mean there's bunting on these. They have Coca-Cola signs over there, and then there's like a little stage behind me, which I'll show you in a second. So this 50th Jaws celebration might actually turn to something pretty dang cool, but we'll see. I'm not gonna like get my hopes up in terms of like entertainment offerings, but it's odd that they would just do this random trussing just to put bunting on the bottom of it. It's gotta be for something else. Here's the bottom of that trussing structure. You got the Coca-Cola with the fishnets, and then there it is. I mean, this thing is massive, and it's kind of odd that it would just be here just to have like some bunting and a Coca-Cola flag at the bottom of it, and then directly across the way, they got this little tiny platform, like a little tiny stage type of thing. So I don't know. They might be like adding some pretty cool elements to this Jaws celebration. So we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll come back and check on it. Across from Fast and the Furious, there's another food booth. This is called Midway the Grill, world famous Frankfurters. And if somebody's saying world famous Frankfurters, you know they're talking about Nathan's. They have a Nathan's hot dog. They have a funnel cake with a little shark on it too. And then they have another specialty beverage. This is called the Frenzy Fizz. It's a spiced rum, raspberry puree, stone fruit syrup, and Coca-Cola orange cream. And before we head out, just one more update. Wanted to show off what the new expansion to the Universal Studio Store looks like. We're over in the Harry Potter section now. And they opened up this cut-through right here. This is where the wands are. Like if in the regular Universal Studio Store, the registers used to be right back there. And they opened up the cut-through now. Straight ahead will lead you to Super Nintendo World. But the main thing that's so cool about this is you can now buy butterbeer outside of the parks. They sell cold butterbeer and frozen butterbeer, but you no longer need a ticket. You can just come to City Walk and get a butterbeer at this bar. This whole section to the right is Super Nintendo World merch, and we did a whole video showcasing a lot of the merchandise over at Super Nintendo World, so I'm not going to show off any of the stuff in here. It's all the stuff that you can find over in Epic, but yeah, this is pretty cool. Got the warp pipes up in the ceiling. Looks like that warp pipe will lead you to Minecart Madness. Very cool. All right, everyone, that's gonna do it for this video. Hope you enjoyed coming along with me as we checked out some of the new things that are going on over here at Universal Studios Florida. Like I said in the beginning of the video, a lot of people are focused on Epic, but there's some cool things happening for the summer. And if you're a fan of Jaws, highly, highly recommend you come out. Check out that themed area, check out some of the drinks. Like I said, we'll be back when the food booths open to check those out and just celebrate all things Jaws for the 50th anniversary. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure you give it a nice big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel down below so you don't miss out on all of our future Universal videos to come. With that being said, we'll see you guys real soon.